For May 2025 exams, capital gains chapter has major amendments, TDS and TCS has major amendments, and further we are going to discuss from the best income tax material ever, beautiful income tax material, where you are having only 20 pages. Exactly, the TDS TCS is entirely covered in 20 pages without skipping any point, without skipping any content, where many students will have so much of confusion in certain provisions especially. Okay, all that confusion I'm avoiding. In fact, once this intro part is completed, initially I'll be giving certain clarifications on combination of various sections in TDS TCS that generally confuses you. Like there is something called 8 section combination. Yeah, sorry, just a minute. Yeah, so there is something called 8 section combination, 5 section combination, like that. Some combinations were there in TDS TCS. Only those who observe those combinations, they can really do remember well the TDS provisions. That combinations introduction I gave, and you know, the provisions were drafted fantastically in this material. You just continue watching, you will only understand how beautifully the material was crafted. And if at all any of you want to order this material, or you want to take a print of this material under free resources, you just open restofacma.com or caramharsha classes. If you type in Google, you will find our websites restofacma.com. Go to P3A income tax, you can download the PDF here. Alternatively, the best thing is order the color book. Just go to books, see into whether whatever option you select, the books are same. Okay, fast track, for example, you select, you know, concept book is there. You can order this concept book. Believe me guys, this is one of the fantastic book ever. You love the way it was drafted. You will fantastical experience. And entire this TDS I'm going to cover in 1.5 hours with the TCS, TDS, clarification, circulars, everything. The kind of clarity that you're going to witness is amazing. Okay, and continue watching. And by the way, those of you, if at all, you know, you want to also see, for example, any fast track course like that. So we have fast track courses. So, you know, in the last minute revision, if at all, any of you, if at all in the last minute, if at all you are feeling like you are unable to study on your own, this fast track courses are there. Trust me guys, within 250 hours, each group we have given our blood and sweat. 100% syllabus we are covering in these fast track courses. Fine. Anyhow, those of you who are in need, maybe after watching the class, you will only feel that. Fine. So go ahead, continue watching. All the very best. Do not watch at higher playback speed. Try to watch at a standard speed. If at all you are feeling speed, then reduce the speed, or if you're feeling slow, increase the speed by just 10% variation. Don't increase at 1.5x. No, never do watch at 1.5x. 1.1x is to some extent permitted. 0.9x is permitted. That's it. Okay, go ahead. All the very best. Okay, in TDS, no, before you start TDS revision, okay, you come back to this particular timestamp once again. After finishing TDS advanced tax revision, once again come back to this timestamp. Now first listen, then proceed to TDS. Then after listening entire TDS revision, again come back to this. Okay, now what is this? There are section combinations you should remember. Section combinations: 194A, 194C, 194H, 194I, 194J, 194R, 206C. Okay, 206C subsection 1, 206C subsection 1F. In these 8 sections, these sections are applicable to the payer, to the seller, who is any person other than individual and HUF. In the preceding year, in case of individual and HUF, in preceding year, turnover is more than 1 crore in business, profession gross receipts are more than 50 lakh, then only these 8 sections apply. First point. Then 194DA, you know, amendment. I'm talking about amendment. Amendments are there in which sections I'm talking about. Okay, 194DA, major amendments. I'm talking about that too, major amendments. 194DA, 194G, 194H, 194M. Okay, 194M, 194 this one more, IB. In all these sections, TDS rate up to 30th September 2024. This is most important amendment, 5%. From 1st October 2024, 2%. Are you clear? Then there is another section, another combination. What is that combination? This is important for theory question. Right now what I'm going to tell you. 194IA, 194IB, 194M. These sections are applicable, okay, even for personal expenses. And these sections, TAN number under 203A section do not apply. Clear? Then 206C, 1H and 194Q. These two sections are applicable only for buying of goods or seller of the goods. Which goods? Other than 206C subsection 1, 206C subsection 1F, 206C subsection 1G. Then there are two more sections where minor amendments happened. 194C, exclusion 194J they mentioned. Exclusion 194J, work do not include professional service given under 194J. Actually that is not required, but that's an amendment brought. 206C, yes or no? 1F, earlier it is applicable for motor vehicle where value exceeding 10 lakhs. But now notified goods are also added. Notified goods with effect from 1st January 2025. That's it. These are the amendments. 194C, 206C, 1F. Here amendment is there. You know, this entire category is amended. This entire category is what? Amended. Don't worry. In the TDS revision at respective places, I repeated these sections multiple times. You will understand better. Are you confident? Easy or not? Generally, you know, 206 AA, high rate of TDS by the payer to the payee. If payee does not furnish PAN, 2 times of the section rate, 20%, whichever is higher. But 194Q, maximum TDS 5%. 206CC, yes or no? Higher rate of TCS by the seller from the buyer you should collect. At what rate? 2 times 5%, 1% for 206C, subsection 1H. That's it. All these points I covered in the respective section. That's it. As an intro I am giving you. Okay, clear, easy. Let's begin TDS, TCS and advanced tax revision. So first we will finish TDS related revision. Then we'll get back to advanced tax. See, generally in the basic concepts topic we might have, you know, what we understood is income is earned in the previous year. For that, computation of tax, assessment of tax, filing of return, payment of tax will be made in the next year, and that next year is called as assessment year. But department will collect tax in the income, tax on the income. They don't wait up to next year. They directly collect from you at the source itself. Suppose you are getting income, right? Somebody is paying you, right? From the somebody who is paying you, from there itself they will collect the tax belonging to you. And the person who is paying you, to the extent of tax whatever he has to pay to department on behalf of you, will deduct the tax and then pay it to you. Getting it? Tax is collected in the same previous year when you are earning income. One in the form of TDS, another one in the form of advanced tax. Getting it? Through TDS they collect at some percentage. Through advanced tax they will collect the remaining amount. Literally, income tax department will collect entire your tax amount in the previous year itself without waiting up to assessment year. If at all you are having any pending tax liability in assessment year, still you are liable for interest under 234B. Yes or no? Fine. Anyhow, the 234BC will come back in advanced tax revision. Now, so TDS and TCS. What is the difference between TDS and TCS? TDS is tax deducted at source. TCS is tax collected at source. TCS is collected by seller from buyer. TDS is collected. TDS is deducted by payer while paying amount to payee. If you see, you know, suppose, no, payer, you know, in seller and buyer, no, seller is actually payee, buyer is actually payer. TCS, payee will collect from payer. Technically, TDS, payee will deduct. No. Payer will deduct some money, balance amount will be paid to the payee. This is also called as withholding of tax. We have already seen similar point for what is TDS in 40 subsection A, 140 subsection A, 1A. Most of the TDS provisions and TCS provisions are applicable to business assessees. Only few sections are there, like 194 IB, 194 IA, 194 M. Generally these 3 sections, 194 N, cash withdrawal. Personal purpose also TDS is liable. Able to understand? That's it. Fine. Anyhow, more about each and every section we'll discuss slowly one by one. So what is the difference between TDS and TCS? It might come for 3 or 4 marks question. Okay, a theory question might come. Directly I will start with sections in TDS. Then I will come back to this diagram. At last I will come back to this diagram. What is the TDS mechanism? How TDS mechanism works exactly? That we'll discuss at last. First, let us discuss each and every TDS section. 192 TDS on salary. Like in this chapter, no, many of you will have a confusion. Like some sections, no, they say TDS at the time of payment. Some sections say at the time of credit or at the time of payment, whichever is earlier. Simply in this diagram, what sections deals with at the time of payment only? TDS shall be deducted here at the time of payment only, whereas here at the time of credit or payment, which is for the payer, no, that's an expenditure. Amount paid is a expenditure for the payer. Now for the payer, whatever amount he is paying, it's an expenditure for him. That amount will be deducted. Sorry, that amount will be recognized in books rate expenditure. Suppose if at all I am recognizing on accrual basis expenditure, but not yet paid at the time of recognition itself, TDS adjustment, TDS deduction must be made in the books of accounts, and that must be remitted to the department. So in all these sections, at the time of recognizing in the books of accounts the liability or payment, whichever is earlier, so at that time TDS has to be deducted. Whereas in all these sections, when you are recognizing in books of accounts the expenditure or liability, doesn't matter, only at the time of payment you will deduct TDS. That's it. Now 192, getting it? At the end of the TDS chapter, once I will revise that payment to credit, all that. Okay, how to remember that sections easily. 192, employer, employee may be resident or non-resident. In our entire TDS provisions, no, recipient shall only be resident generally. If at all we are paying any amount to non-resident related TDS provisions are discussed under 195, which we don't have in CA inter syllabus. It's there only in the CA final. Payment to residents. Only few payments, no, like 192 salary, 194 B, BB, BA, all these billings, no, the payment can be made to a resident or it can be to a non-resident also. Able to understand? So there only non-resident is also covered. Rest of all the sections, recipient to whom you are paying, no, payee must be resident. By the way, in TDS, no, the terminology is payer, payee, deductor, deductee. Whereas in TCS, the terminology is seller, buyer. Seller will collect a tax from buyer. That's it. Now, so here, who is paying it? Employer is paying. Employer is paying the salary to employee. Very simple. How to tax has to be collected? What is the threshold limit? Every section uniformly drafted like this. Getting it? So who is the payer? Who is the payee? What is the rate of TDS? What is the threshold? When it should be deducted? Then exemptions and additional conditions like that. Yes or no? First, no, under 192, employer has to ask employee regarding what is the tax regime they follow. First ask them. They will tell you normal or default. Suppose employee did not reply. We by default assume default tax regime. Correct? Now, in this section, what is the complexity? Employer has to identify, the company which is paying salary has to identify what is total income of employee. Identify total income. Suppose employee total income is 10 lakhs, sir. Exactly 10 lakhs total income. Total income means what? Gross total income minus chapter 6 deductions, which means company has to ask employee what are the salary incomes that he is getting from this company, other companies. Company has to ask the employee what is house property income he has. We should ask the employee what is capital gains income, all that. Ask gross total income information. Also ask him optional tax regime, then ask him chapter 6A details and all, then compute total income. Sir, like that I computed. Total income came 10 lakhs. Total tax liability including education cess is approximately 1,20,000 is coming. Now deduct it over 12 months. April month 10,000, May month 10,000, June month 10,000. Deduct it equally over 12 months. That is why they use the word average rate of tax. There is no specific percentage here because tax is calculated based on slab rates. Yes or no? So find out the estimated tax liability of the employee. Ask him TDS details, all that. After reducing that, balance the tax. Deduct it under 192. Able to understand? So employer will do estimation of tax liability and accordingly this amount will be collected. Sometimes, no, for example, no, this 10 lakhs if you see, you know, what is the total income 10 lakhs? How much is the tax liability? Actually 1.2 lakh. Out of this 10 lakhs, for example, 3 lakhs is a non-monetary perquisite, 9 lakhs is a monetary and monetary, non-monetary elements perquisite all put together. Now, company sometimes know what they do, you know, this 1.2 lakhs is the total tax, right? Company sometimes non-monetary perquisite related tax component, company will say they will bear it. The company will say they will bear what? Non-monetary perquisite related tax. Now, sir, for 10 lakhs worth of salary, 1.2 lakhs, 1.2 lakh. This 10 lakhs, no, 3 lakhs is non-monetary, 9 lakhs is the others. Now, how much is for non-monetary perquisite? 1.2 into 3 by 10 is equal to how much? 30%? 36,000. Sorry, not 3, here it is 7. Okay, here it is 7, sorry, it's a 7. Okay, so 3 by 10 non-monetary, 36,000. Balancing figure is how much actually? So 1.2, 84,000, correct? 84,000. Now, sir, out of 1.2, no, 36 lakhs is 36,000 is belonging to non-monetary perquisite related tax portion. This 84,000 is related to remaining total income. How do we compute the tax liability on non-monetary? By applying average rate of tax. For 10 lakhs, 1.2 lakh means 12% is the average rate of tax. 3 lakhs is the non-monetary perquisite value into 12% is equal to 36,000. That's why they use in this section average rate of tax. Average rate of tax. Now, what the company proposed, the company said this 36,000 they will take care, they will pay. So from my salary every month, from my salary in the full year, 84,000 only will be deducted. When the when they are paying me money, right, monthly salary, 84,000 will be deducted in full year by 12. Able to understand? So maybe 12 divided by 84 means 7,000 per month. 7,000 they will deduct from my salary every month. Now 36,000 company is paying, no, out of their own pocket. That's an expenditure for him, no. They can't claim deduction. Under PGBP 40 subsection A, this amount paid, amount of income tax paid by employer on the non-monetary perquisite of employee is actually a business expenditure for him, but he can't claim deduction because it's an income tax obligation. You can't claim deduction. For employee, my tax company is paying. That is also a benefit to me, but it is exempt under 10 subsection 10 CC. That's it. Remaining 84,000 will be deducted from employee every month. Are you clear? Now, you need to ask some evidences for deductions, because when we are computing total income of the employee, he gave me so many deductions details. You should collect evidences. For HRA, to whom he is paying rent, landlord, name, owner name, PAN number, all that. If at all rent paid per annum is more than 1 lakh. Leave travel, expenditure of travel tickets, all that. Interest on house property, bank statement, bank name, all that. Chapter 6A, investment and expenditure related bills will be there, right? Those details are required. Sometimes this itself can be asked as a 3 marks question in the exam theory. That's it. 192 is over. Understood or not? Next, 192A. This is regarding premature withdrawal from provident fund. We all know in recognized provident fund, if at all you are withdrawing after 5 years of continuous service, fully exempt. Suppose if you are withdrawing within 5 years, then we will see why he is withdrawing. Because of ill health, because of discontinuance of the job, because company closed. If at all these are the 3 reasons, then also it is exempted. Other than these 3 reasons, you are withdrawing for some personal purpose, then fully taxable. Amount withdrawn is fully taxable. What is taxable? Employer contribution, interest on employer contribution, interest on employee contribution. These 3 components are taxable. The amount you withdrawn includes employee contribution also, but that is just your amount you are getting back. That is not taxable. You able to understand? This is the taxability. Suppose if the employee withdrawing PF, which is a taxable withdrawal, then if the withdrawal amount is more than 50,000 or more, the company straight away apply TDS at 10% on taxable portion. For example, employee withdrawn from provident fund 1 lakh. If you see the breakup of 1 lakh, no, 20,000 is employee contribution. Remaining 80,000 is employer, interest on employer, interest on employee. Now since total withdrawal amount is 1 lakh, since crossed 50, section will apply. But when you are applying 10%, you will only apply on taxable portion, which is 10%, which is 8,000 rupees. Are you clear? Suppose if you are withdrawing, which is exempted, after 5 years of service, if you withdraw fully exempted, no TDS on that. That's it. Easy or not? Next, interest on securities. Who are paying? Anybody, every person who is paying interest on securities. Who will issue these securities? Either government, local authority, company, statutory corporation, anybody can issue. They are paying interest on security. They need to deduct TDS at the time of paying the interest. If annual interest is, okay, fine. TDS is deducted at what rate? 10%. To whom you are paying? Resident. When they should deduct TDS? At the time of recognizing in the books. Time of credit means recognizing in the books, or time of payment, whichever is earlier. Now, time of credit. Credit in the books means what? Recognizing liability. Whether you recognize liability saying interest expenditure, whether you recognize liability with some suspense account, which name you are using for the liability doesn't matter. You recognize liability, right? That's enough. You need to deduct TDS under some section. Are you clear? Next, there are what is the threshold limits, or what are the exemptions under these sections? Some interest payment paid, some interest payment on securities, that is exempted. No TDS will apply. No TDS. Remember, it is about no TDS. It's not about exemption of that income for the recipient. For the recipient, the incomes are taxable or incomes are exempted as per our exemption rules, taxability rules. This here I'm talking about. Here, when I say exemption, TDS is exempted on that. That's it. Now, interest payable on debentures by widely held company. If a widely held company is paying interest on what? Debentures. To whom they are paying? Individuals and HUF. Then threshold limit is 5,000 rupees. Up to 5,000 rupees per annum. The threshold limit is what? In a financial year. If a widely held company means what? Listed companies, generally. Listed companies, government corporations, all that. Public interest entities. We call them as what? Public interest entities. Getting it? If these companies are paying any interest, up to 5,000 to individual and HUF, up to 5,000 no TDS. Suppose if the amount is crossing 5,000 a year, on full amount of interest, 10% TDS will apply. Yes or no? Remember, the exemption is given only for widely held company. Suppose if a closely held company, a private limited company is paying interest, unlisted public company is paying interest to individual or HUF, 5,000 limit is also not there. Full amount, even 1,000 rupees interest is liable for TDS. Yes or no? Suppose interest is paid by widely held company only, but to a partnership firm, to an LLP, to a company they are paying, then no threshold limit. Even from 1,000 rupees onwards, you need to collect, you need to deduct TDS. Yes or no? Suppose interest amount is paid on securities, but the securities are owned by insurance company and any other insurer. Any other insurer means what? Simple insurance company. Any insurance, private, public, government, doesn't matter. Insurance companies are the owners for the securities. On those securities, the issuer company paying interest, no TDS will apply. Are you clear? Interest on securities of government. Interest on securities of government, straight away exempt. However, 8% saving bond, 7.75% taxable saving bonds, floating rate saving bonds. This is newly added as the amendment in the newly recent Finance Act. For the first time, May 25 exams only this is applicable. So, on floating rate savings bonds, annual interest, if it is more than 10,000 only, TDS. Only for these three interest only 10,000 threshold limit is applicable. Suppose if interest is paid by government securities, if the interest is paid on government, no need to deduct TDS at all. Interest on government securities, no need to deduct TDS. But for these three bonds, types of bonds where annual interest is exceeding 10,000, then only TDS will apply. At what rate? 10%. Next, if interest is paid on national development bonds, no TDS. Interest paid on national saving certificates, no TDS. Interest paid on debentures issued by some institute or authority or society. Which society? Cooperative Land Mortgage Bank, Cooperative Land Development Bank. If they are paying any interest, no TDS. Interest paid on Power Financial Corporation capital gain bonds. Interest paid on IRFC capital gain bonds, no TDS will apply. But you see, Rural Electrification Corporation is not covered here. Able to understand? Yes, that's it. So simply, what is the takeaway? TDS at 10% will apply if annual interest payable to individual HUF is exceeding 5,000 on debentures issued by widely held company. On interest payable by closely held company, straight 10% without limit. Interest payable on government bonds if annual interest is exceeding taxable government bonds. That's why I used the word very clearly. Taxable. What are the taxable government bonds? 8% taxable savings bonds. 7.75 taxable floating rate bonds. 2020. Yes or no? That's it. Only on them TDS will apply. That too if the annual interest payable exceeds 10,000. Then TDS will be deducted at what rate? 10%. That's it. 193 over. Clear? Next, 194. Okay, 194 I'll come back to it. 194 I will discuss, because 194 also talks about interest only. But other than interest on securities, then what interest? Interest on loans, interest on borrowings, interest on public deposits, interest on fixed deposits, recurring deposits accepted by the bank or post office. Simple. You are paying interest on what? Some loan you borrowed, some borrowing, some deposits, whatever you are paying interest on that. Then TDS will apply. At what rate? Same 10%. But this section is applicable only for any person other than individual and HUF. This section is applicable for any person other than an individual HUF. But what about individual and HUF? For them this section apply only if turnover from business is exceeding 1 crore in preceding financial year, or gross receipts are exceeding 50 lakh in preceding financial year. If their turnover or gross receipts are exceeding 1 crore, exceeding 50 lakhs in the preceding financial year, then only for individual and HUF it is applicable. This applicability limit is same. This applicability limit is same in these sections: 194A, 194C, 194H, 194I, 194J, 194R, 206C subsection 1, 206C subsection 1F. Yes or no? For 206C1, 206C1F, in all these sections, TCS section also you see seller definition. You see TCS open and see just right now. TCS section open and see seller definition, second page of the TCS topic. Yes or no? 206C subsection 1 covered. Seller of timber, seller of forest produce, seller of scrap. Yes or no? 206C 1F, seller of motor vehicle, correct? Or notified goods. So for these 8 sections, payer means same definition. Payer means same definition. These 8 sections are applicable to the same category of SSE. Which SSE? Any person, whoever is paying these 8 types of payments, for them only TDS will apply. Individuals and HUFs, these 8 sections will apply only if business turnover is exceeding 1 crore in the last year. You know, or in case of profession, gross receipts are exceeding more than 50 lakh in the last year. Many students here misinterpret. Last year, if at all they are having audit, this section is applicable. No, it's not audit. They never use the word audit. Turnover more than 1 crore, this section apply. Turnover more than 50 lakh, this section apply. Whether they are going for audit or not doesn't matter. Yes or no? Next. Who is paying? Obviously, you are paying to resident. Now, there are exemptions under this section. There are exemptions under this section. Like if you are paying the following interest, no, you don't have to deduct TDS at all. For example, on savings deposit, you don't have to deduct TDS. By banking company, savings deposit interest paid by banking company, no need to deduct. Post office related point, they are silent. The section is silent on post office savings interest. But we will apply the same logic, and post office also they don't deduct in reality. Are you getting it? Then interest creditor are paid by a firm to its partners. If a partnership firm is paying interest to partners, no TDS under 194A. But there is another section called 194T. In 40 subsection B, we have seen. As per 194T, new section which is added, which is not there in our TDS chapter, but is there in our 40B PGBP. Yes or no? As per 194T, if annual amount paid to partner by the partnership firm, remuneration, interest, that and all doesn't matter. If the firm is paying to partners, yeah, they are paying. Firm is paying to partners. Yes, they are paying. Interest on capital, interest on loan, remuneration, something they are paying. Is it more than 20,000? Yes, straight away 10% TDS apply under 194T. So, if an interest is paid by a firm to partner, 194A does not apply, but 194T will apply. Yes or no? No TDS for deposit schemes of central government. Yes or no? Next, no TDS if at all you are paying interest to banks, society, LIC, insurance company, Unit Trust of India notified. No TDS on interest on compensation paid by insurance company under motor accident claim tribunal. If insurance company is paying interest on compensation, because of the compensation is awarded under motor accident claim tribunal. Suppose if the insurance company is just recognizing in the books, interest expenditure they recognize it in books only, no TDS. But they are paying, yes, TDS apply. Threshold limit is 50,000. Up to 50,000, no TDS. But if it crosses 50,000, straight away on the entire amount, TDS will apply at what rate? 10%. Zero coupon bonds, no TDS. Any other notified, no TDS. Now let's discuss, interest paid by banks. Interest paid by banks. Interest paid by societies we will discuss. Generally, sir, I am not a banker, sir. I am not a banker. I am an individual. I borrowed a loan from my friend or relative, sir. I am paying interest, sir. TDS applicable? Yes. If the amount is crossing 50,000. Actually, you see the section here. No interest, no TDS on interest. If aggregate amount in financial year does not exceed 5,000. If the payer is anybody, sir, the payer is a bank or the payer is a cooperative bank, then 40,000 is a threshold limit. Senior citizen, what is the threshold limit? 50,000. Yes or no? Now, sir, how this 40,000, 50,000 limit shall be computed? Is it per fixed deposit? By the way, banks and all has to deduct TDS only on only on time deposits. Time deposit means what? It may be fixed deposit or it may be recurring deposit, anything. Savings deposit is exempted, no TDS at all. Sir, a bank is paying on interest on time deposit or fixed deposit, sir, or recurring deposit. 40,000 is the threshold rate. Is it per deposit? Is it per FD? No. Is it per branch of the bank? No. Full bank. State Bank of India has 20,000 branches across India. I may be having in 10, 20 branches, 1 lakh FD. All branches put together, how much interest they are paying me, you should see. Entire State Bank of India paying me how much interest, you see. If it is more than 40,000, TDS at 10% will apply on the entire amount. Suppose I am a senior citizen, recipient is a senior citizen, then bank will apply 50,000 threshold limit. Sir, bank does not have core banking solution. See, if core banking solution is there, full bank wise you should see. Others means what? Core banking solution is not there. Then branch wise we will see, yes or no. Post offices also has to deduct TDS on notified schemes. Only for these schemes, if the interest amount paid by them exceed 40, 10%. Otherwise, 50,000. Yes or no? Suppose interest is paid by some other person, sir, 5,000. This is the threshold limit. Now, the most confusing part in this section, I simplified it here. Sir, interest paid by cooperative society. Interest paid by cooperative society. Many institute book is very confusing. Many books are very confusing. This is simplest way. Interest is paid by whom? Cooperative society. Which cooperative society, sir? Not a cooperative bank, because cooperative bank is covered here. Cooperative bank is covered here. Other than cooperative bank, a society is paying interest, sir, on loans borrowed, deposits taken by them. Okay, which society? Sir, society is there, right? Their turnover does not exceed 50 crore in the last year. Their turnover does not exceed 50 crore in the last year. Look, 194A, applicability to cooperative society. If a society whose turnover in the last year is not exceeding 50 crore, then interest paid to member, interest paid to another society, interest paid by primary agriculture cooperative society, primary credit society, cooperative land mortgage bank, cooperative land development bank. No TDS, no TDS, no TDS. And finally, if a cooperative bank is paying saving interest, no, then also no TDS. Yes or no? Sir, I am a cooperative society, sir, where my turnover is exceeding 50 crore in the last year. All these exemptions will not apply. If annual interest is exceeding 40, flat 10%. Senior citizen, you are paying 50,000 is the threshold limit. Cooperative society are the liable for deducting TDS. Look at the last year turnover, more than 50 crore, no exemptions. Straight away 40,000, 50,000 threshold limits. However, savings interest is always exempted from TDS. Now, coming to, sir, I am a society, sir. Last year my turnover is less than 50. Then 3 types of payments I am exempted. Interest paid to member is exempted. Interest paid to another society is exempted. Interest paid by primary agriculture society, primary credit society, that and all exempted. Able to understand. By the way, when I say cooperative society, I am talking about other than cooperative banks. Are you clear? So simplest way you can understand. No confusion at all. 194A is completed. Easy or not? All of you? Now we'll go back to 194, TDS on dividends. Remember, there is another section called 194K, units of mutual funds. Income on units of mutual fund. Suppose I bought shares and securities of a company. On that I am getting dividend. Which shares? Equity, preference, whatever. Which dividend? Final dividend, interim dividend, deemed dividend also. Remember, deemed dividend is also covered, yes or no? If at all I am getting dividend on shares, 194E section is applicable. If a company is paying, mutual fund company is paying income to unit holders on mutual fund units, 194K is applicable. In both the sections, threshold limit is 5,000 per year. In both the sections, 10% is the TDS rate on dividend, yes or no? When they should deduct TDS, earlier of payment or distribution of dividend. There also it is earlier of payment or distribution of income to unit holders, yes or no? 194K. 2 sections I am completing simultaneously. Who should deduct? Principal officer, resident shareholder, 5,000. That too, if the shareholder is individual only. That too, payment is made by other than. No threshold in other cases. No threshold means what? Suppose if the company is paying dividend to another company, no TDS. Suppose if a subsidiary company declared dividend, holding company is getting dividend on full amount, even if it is 1,000 rupees, TDS has to be deducted at what rate? 10%. That's it. 194 is over. Easy or not? All of you? Then winnings. 194B, winnings related totally 3 sections are there. 194B, 194BB, both these sections are very similar. 194BA, slightly different. 194BA is what? Suppose I'm getting winnings from online games. How I do online games? Generally, I will install the app in my phone or laptop and I will add some deposit amount. Then I will start playing the online game. Then I will be getting some winning. Yes or no? Some games I will be losing. Some game I will be winning. So amount will be credited to the online. Yes or no? Now, how much is the TDS? 30% on the net winnings in the user account. What do you mean by net winnings? Gross winning identify. Total balance in the ledger account you see, balance how much you see, from that minus deposit amount you reduce. The balance is called as what? Net winnings. On the net winnings, how much TDS will apply? 30%. When you will? At the time of payment. When the TDS will be deducted? At the time of withdrawal from the ledger. Withdrawal from the ledger, TDS will be deducted at the time of withdrawal. Sir, during the year I am not withdrawing at all. I just keep that amount as it is like that. Then year end, TDS will be deducted at the end of the financial year. March month they will deduct the TDS. If at all you didn't withdraw, on the winnings portion, 30% TDS will be deducted at the year end. Easy or not? Yes or no? There is no threshold limit here. There is no threshold limit. Winning amount 1000, 30% TDS will apply. Sir, what if winnings is in kind? How TDS will apply? If the winnings amount is not cash, the winning amount is kind. Car we are giving. Car value 10 lakhs. Yes or no? That's the winning amount. How should I deduct TDS? You can't deduct TDS in kind. Therefore, ask the recipient. Winner is there, right? Winner no should pay 3 lakhs. 10 lakhs is the value of the car. Then into 30% TDS. Ask him to pay 3 lakhs to department as advance tax. Ask him to pay 3 lakhs as advance tax. Take the challan. Then release the car. Are you getting it? Suppose if the winnings which is in kind or cash and kind, but cash portion is not sufficient to cover TDS amount, then winner has to pay the pending amount through challan as it advance tax to the department, and the challan proof has to be given to the the person who is releasing the winning. That's how TDS. MCQ is there. Getting it? How MCQ? Option A, the company has to collect from the winner money, TDS money, and then deposit. That's wrong. The company has to ensure winner paid the tax to the department directly, advance tax in the form of, yes or no. The challan details you should take. That's how the section is drafted. MCQ, especially this logic is very important for the purpose of MCQ. Are you clear? That's it. Now, sir, I am getting some winnings, sir, but other than online game, other than horse races. See, winnings are again broadly classified into two types. Any winnings other than online and horse race, and horse race. In both the cases, what is the TDS rate? 30%. At the time of payment only. In both the cases, at the time of payment only. Rate of TDS, 30%. For horse races, you have a separate 10,000 threshold limit in a year. For remaining winnings, you have a separate 10,000 threshold limit in a year. If the amount is crossing 10,000 on full amount, 30% TDS. Clear? Easy. There is no much complication in B and BB. BA is only somewhat confusing, which I told you now clearly. What is net winning? All that I clearly told. Next, 194C. 194C is for what? Again, applicability. 194C is applicable for which SSE? 8 sections I told. 8 sections are applicable only to any person other than individual and HUF. For individual and HUF, turnover in the last year more than 1 crore. Profession gross receipts are more than 50 lakh. Then only this section is applicable. What payment is covered under 194C? Under 194C, contract payment is covered. Payment to contractors is covered. Okay, I am paying to contractor for what? For work. For carrying out work. Don't use the word works contract. Works contract is a legal term. That is different. I am paying for carrying out work, not works contract. Yes or no? So we had a contract between me and another person have a contract. He is doing some work for me. For that work reason I am paying him. Able to understand what is work? Work means what? Supply of labor for carrying out work. Suppose if at all they are supplying professional and technical people, for example, then 194J technical service. That comes under 194J technical service. If at all the contractor he is supplying me professional people and technical people, not laborers. Then it comes under technical service, provisioning of technical and professional personnel. Yes or no? They come under 194J, fees for technical service, that comes under. Getting it? For technical service fee, 2% TDS under 194J. Here you are paying amount for carrying out work. Carrying out work means what? Supplying labor for work purpose. Advertising, it comes under carrying out. Broadcasting and telecasting with production specification. Remember, broadcasting, telecasting alone is not covered. With the production is covered. Suppose I am paying some amount to a company where they do broadcasting and telecasting. They take care of broadcasting, telecasting. Production also they take care. Production of ad as per my specification. I will tell them how the ad should be. They will design the ad according to my specification. Means they are carrying out some work. The amount paid is for the work, and they are doing telecasting, broadcasting. The TDS will apply under 194C. Suppose I designed ad completely. I designed ad completely with some ad agency. Okay, I designed complete ad. Just I gave the ad to the television company to play it. Just broadcasting, telecasting they should do. Nothing else. 194C section will not apply. Are you clear? All of you. Same way, ad agency will pay to television company. Suppose I went to one ad agency for advertisement. They designed the ad. I paid them 10 crore lump sum money for telecasting, broadcasting, designing of the ad. Now this ad agency is paying 5 crore to television company for telecasting. Now ad agency is paid to television company for telecasting. No. Ad agency designed the ad. Television company is just telecasting the ad. What work they are doing? So no TDS on that under 194C. No TDS under other sections also. Are you clear? Now, ad agency for designing the ad, no, they hire film artists and all. For them they pay. That is liable for 194J. Are you getting it? Because film artist comes under profession. That's it. Then what is work includes? Work includes, supply of labor, advertising, broadcasting and telecasting, which includes production purpose, production specifications, carriage of goods, transportation service is also covered under works contract. Sorry, transportation service also comes under work other than railways. Yes or no? Transportation is also work, remember. Catering is also work, remember. Manufacturing or supplying, suppose I supplied material, I supplied paper to my vendor. I supplied paper to my vendor and I asked him to please print and then give me. Printing service comes under 194C. Printing service comes under what? 194C. Printing of papers comes under 194. Suppose I supplied, papers to the supplier and he is just printing the content as per my specification and then giving me back. Printing work he is carrying out, right? That comes under manufacture and supply. Yes or no? Manufacture and supply of a product based on customer specification using materials provided by customer. Material I only gave, what to do also specification I only gave. He just have to work on it and then give back. That is called work. Suppose he is only buying the paper, he is only printing everything and then he is just supplying me as a sale of books. Then that comes under sale of books. It will not come under work. Able to understand? Printing service generally comes under work. If at all paper is supplied by the buyer, paper is supplied by the service receiver. Able to understand? So clarification, printing point also you remember. In sometimes in exam printing also will be given as an example. Are you clear? Next, exclusions. Professional services under 194J. This is newly added in the Finance Act 2024 amendment. Earlier, even if this point is not there, we do the same only. Now, specifically the section says 194J is not covered under 194J. Services will not come under 194C. Then professional services, yes or no? Then contracts which are purely sale of goods. Like, I ordered some books. They only bought the paper. They only printed everything. Yes or no? So they just gave me. Maybe specification I'll give. That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, material is owned by them. Yes or no? That comes under sale of goods. On sale of goods, 194C will not apply because he didn't carry work on my material. He should do some work on my material. Transporter on my material he is carrying. Yes or no? Telecasting, broadcasting, my advertisement they are doing. Yes or no? Some work they are doing. That's why 194C will apply. Able to understand? Then I have given regarding broadcasting, telecasting. All that I have already we discussed in production house. Entire this issue be discussed in our classroom. Okay. Next, now when TDS has to be deducted, if the amount is paid to a resident contractor, at what rate? Individual and HUF. If the contractor, the person who is doing work for me, if at all he is an individual HUF, 1%. Suppose if the work is carried by some other person, then 2%. So partnership firm, LLP, AOP, BOI, company contractors, 2% directly. Yes or no? Sir, pay, he is a transporter, sir. and he is a small transporter as referred under 44 AE. Who is a small transporter? A transporter involved in plying, hiring, leasing of goods carriage vehicle, and the number of vehicles at any point of time during the financial year does not exceed 10. So he is called as a small transporter. He must give a PAN number and he must give a declaration that he is a small transporter. If at all he gave a PAN number and gave a self declaration that I am a small transporter, whatever amount I am paying him for transportation, which is a work actually, whatever amount I paid, not subject to TDS. Are you getting it? That's it. Now, threshold limit. When TDS will be deducted? If the single payment is exceeding 30,000, TDS will apply. The single payment is less than 30. But yearly payment is crossing 1 lakh. Yearly payment, April to March, full amount paid is crossing 1 lakh. Then the moment it cross 1 lakh, right, total payment, that time retrospectively on total amount, 2%, 1% will apply and you will deduct. Are you getting it? For example, I paid in quarter 1, I paid 40,000. Sorry, quarter 1, I paid 28,000. In quarter 2, I paid 29,000. In quarter 3, I paid 25,000. In quarter 4, no, I paid 31,000. But you see, total amount is crossed 1 lakh. Now in the quarter 4, how much you paid? 28 plus 29, almost 57. 57, 62, 82, 82 plus 31. 1 lakh 13,000. Correct? So when you pay fourth money, no, fourth time, no, it not only crossed 30, total amount also crossed 1 lakh. Therefore, on entire 1 lakh 13,000, 1% or 2% TDS will apply. So if it is 1%, 1,130. If it is 2%, 1,260. This amount you will deduct from last 31,000 and balance only you will pay. That's it. Yes or no? Now exemptions. Under contract, no, if at all individual or HF is making for personal purpose contract, if at all I am doing interior renovation work purpose in my residential house, that's a personal expenditure. Personal expenditure is not covered under 194C, but personal expenditure is covered under 194M if the personal expenditure in that year is exceeding 50 lakh to a single person. Yes or no? Fine. Anyhow, 194M I will discuss later. Clear? 194C is over. Easy or not? Next, 194D. 194D, insurance commission. You know, there are 3 sections which are dealing with the commission: 194D, 194G, 194H. Whereas G and H has an amendment which is applicable for the May 25 exam for the first time. May 2024 exam, this is applicable for the first time. Again, at the end of this class, once again I will do full revision, full amendments related. Okay, fine. So 194D, insurance commission. 194G, lottery commission. Commission paid to lottery dealer. 194H, any other commission or brokerage paid who are dealing in goods and services. Yes or no? For example, I am buying immovable property. A broker is there. He is asking some brokerage that is covered under 194H. Now, 194D, insurance commission. Suppose if the person, I am paying insurance commission. Okay, I am a dealer with insurance company, or I may be insurance company. I am paying to whom? Insurance agent. What am I paying? Insurance commission I am paying. Yearly, if the amount is exceeding 15,000, if the yearly commission is exceeding 15,000 insurance, you know, this threshold limit is same in 194G also. The limit is same in 194H also. Suppose I am paying insurance commission, 15,000 limit applicable. To the same person I am paying lottery commission. Again, separate 15,000 limit is applicable. I am paying some other commission. All other commissions put together, maximum limit in a year is 15,000. Able to understand. So yearly threshold is what? 15. Suppose if at 15,000 it crossed, and obviously recipient must be resident. If at all the recipient is a non-corporate, not a company, then 5%. Suppose if the recipient is a domestic company, then 10% TDS. Are you clear? Only for insurance commission 5 and 10 logic is applicable. Whereas remaining commission 194D, 194G, 5% TDS up to 30th September. From 1st October it is 2% TDS. Yes or no? Fine. Let me discuss 194G also now. What is 194G? There are these sections, I think 5 sections we have: 194G, 194H, 194M, 194M also the same, no? Yeah, 194M, more than 50 lakh, 5% with effect from 1st October it is 2%. Yes or no? 194IB, yes or no? Rent more than 50,000. Then 194 DA, yeah, DA is also, yes, 194 DA. In these 5 sections, remember, in these 5 sections there is an amendment. In these 5 sections there is an amendment which is applicable for the May 25 for the first time. In all these 5 sections, no, the amount you are paying, right? What is 194DA? Maturity amount in the insurance policy. 194G is what? Commission to lottery agent. 194H is what? Any commission or brokerage which is not covered under 194D, which is not covered under 194G. 194M is what? Payment for work, payment of professional fee, payment of brokerage or commission for personal purposes more than 50 lakh in a year. 194M, 194IB, payment of rent more than 50,000 per month in a month. Yes or no? In all these sections, up to 30th September, 5% TDS applicable. From 1st October 2024 up to 30th September 2024, 5%. From 1st October, 2%. In all these 5 sections, 5% TDS up to 30th September 2024. From 1st October 2024, 2% TDS. Clear or not? Now, what is 194G? Same. Yearly threshold limit is 15,000. Amount of commission paid to lottery seller for sale of lottery tickets. Rate of TDS up to 30th September related commission amount 5%. From 1st October commission amount 2%. Are you clear? Yes or no? That's it. Then 194H. Any other commission but not insurance related commission, lottery related commission. And remember, 194H is applicable to same categories. Any person other than individual HUF. Individual and HUF, if the business turnover is more than 1 crore, profession receipts are more than 50 lakh. Yes. So how much is the TDS? 5% if the commission is payable up to 30th September. 2% if the commission is paid on or after 1st October. Yes or no? Next, what do you mean by commission? Amount is received by one person on behalf of another for services rendered other than professional services, for any other services of buying or selling, or for some transactions related to assets, immovable properties, whatever. Yes or no? Remember, professional services which are covered under 194J, they do not come under 194H. No TDS on commission paid by BSNL. Advertising related, no TDS at all under section 194H. Correct? Now, fees retained by advertising company from media house. I think this is not required. In our regular class, we clearly discussed on this, but this is not required here. Okay. Payment for engaging models, photographs, artists are separate and they may attract TDS under 194J. Yes or no? That's it. 194H is also over. Threshold limit is what? 15,000. At the time of credit or payment, whichever is earlier. Clear. Commission point is over. Now we will discuss 194DA. What is 194DA? Insurance company is paying money under insurance policy. When insurance company will pay money under insurance policy, 3 circumstances. 1, yearly cashback might be there. Yearly cashback might be there. 2, maturity amount. 3, surrender of the policy. Simple. All these days you are paying premium to company. Now company is paying back your money. They should deduct TDS under 194DA if annual amount paid exceeds 1 lakh. If the annual amount paid is 1 lakh or more, the moment it touches 1 lakh, TDS will apply. At what rate? If the amount is paid up to 30th September, 5% TDS. If the amount is paid from 1st October, 2% TDS. But there is one exemption. If the insurance company is releasing money to you, and that money which you are getting, for example, for you it is exempt under 10 subsection 10D. For example, the money received is exempt under 1010D. You are getting 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. It doesn't matter. Fully exempted. That income itself is exempted. TDS will not apply. TDS will not apply on that. Are you getting it? Which means insurance company, when they should deduct a TDS on the insurance amount, only when the insurance amount is taxable for you under income from other sources under 56 subsection 2 clause 13. Yes or no? Only then they should deduct TDS, provided amount paid shall exceed 1 lakh. Suppose insurance company released money 90,000 only. That is taxable for you. 1010D exemption does not apply. TDS will not apply because the amount is not exceeding 1 lakh. Amount is less than 1 lakh. If the amount is touching 1 lakh or more than 1 lakh, both are liable. At the time of payment, they should deduct the TDS. If the amount is paid before 30th September, 5% TDS. If the amount is paid on or after 1st October, 2% TDS. That's it. Are you clear? Next. 194G is over, 194H is over. Now 194I. In 194I, here just add one word: immovable property and furniture. What is that? Furniture. Getting it? Under 194I, you are paying rent for immovable property and furniture. TDS rate is 10%. You are paying rent for plant machinery equipment. TDS rate is 2%. I am paying what here? Rent. For what? Immovable property I am paying rent, or furniture I am paying rent. 10% TDS. Suppose I am paying rent on lease of machinery. lease of equipment, which is not immovable, which is not furniture, then 2% is the TDS. By the way, remember GST component, because no, when I'm paying rental amount, no, the other person might raise on me GST amount also, because rent is liable for GST, commercial renting. Yes or no? On the GST component, no need to deduct TDS. Not only here, in most of the sections, GST component, if it is shown separately in the invoice, on the GST component, we don't collect, we don't apply TDS provisions on GST component. Able to understand? Yes. Now, when TDS will be applied, if the rent amount per annum is more than 2,40,000 in a financial year, directly TDS will apply. For example, no, one company is there, they rented me immovable property, they also rented me plant and machinery, they are collecting 2 lakhs rent for plant and machinery, they are collecting 2 lakhs rent for immovable property. Both put together you should see, because you are paying to single person only, both of them, both put together is 4 lakh, which is exceeding 2.5 lakh. TDS will apply, 194I section will apply. Now at what rate you should deduct? On immovable property portion, 10% is equal to 20,000, whereas on plant and machinery portion, 2% is equal to 4,000. So 20 plus 4, 24,000 is the TDS under 194I. Yes or no? Now who is paying this rent? Any person other than individual and HUF. In case of individual and HUF, this section will apply only if the turnover is exceeding 1 crore in a preceding financial, or gross receipts are exceeding 50 lakhs in preceding financial year. Remember, this applicability section is same for 8 sections. Once again, 194A, C, H, I, J, R, 206C subsection 1 TCS seller, 206C subsection 1F seller of motor vehicle or notified goods. Notified goods is newly added in the Finance Act latest. In these 8 sections, the person liable for TDS, the person liable for collecting TCS must be same. Any person other than individual and HUF will be liable only if the turnover in the preceding financial year is more than 1 crore. If gross receipts in the preceding financial year is exceeding 50 lakh. That's it. 194I section is mostly over. Correct? Now, sometimes farmers will be paying cooling charges to cold storages. That comes under work. 194C will apply. That is not treated as rent. Yes or no? Payment of passenger fee by airline is not considered as rent. One-time payment for long-term lease. I took an asset on lease. One time, single payment only. That is not covered under 194I. Are you clear? Now, if you see 194I, do not apply to individual, do not apply to HUF if they don't have a business or profession, or they have a business or they have a profession, but the last year turnover is less than 1 crore, last year receipts are less than 50 lakh, then 194I does not apply. For them, 194IB is applicable, because IB section also dealing with rent amount only. IB section also dealing with what? Rent expenditure only. Now, what this IB section says? 194 IB section says very simple. I am an individual in HUF who is not covered under 194I. Then, if you are paying rent, monthly rent is more than 50,000. Monthly rent is more than 50,000. Per month rent or part of rent. One day you took function hall on rent. 1 lakh you are paying. You are eligible. You are liable for 194 IB. If you are deducting TDS under 194 IB, TAN number is not required. 194 IA, 194 IB, 194 M. In these 3 sections, if you are deducting TDS, TAN number do not apply. TAN number do not apply. Yes or no? Remaining all other sections, if I have to deduct TDS or if I have to collect TCS, TAN number must be there for the deductor, for the payer, for the seller. Yes or no? Now, okay sir, I am paying monthly rent 50,000 cross it, sir. TDS will apply for that month. TDS will apply for that month. At what rate? If the monthly rent is belonging to up to September month, 5%. If the rent amount is belonging to October month onwards, then 2%. Yes or no? Then when you should deduct this TDS? TDS will be deducted from the rent paid for last month of the year. March month rent you will pay, right? From that month, in the 12 months, every month more than 50 identify. That many months multiplied by rent amount of that month. Yes or no? Into 5%, 2%, as the case may be. Apply that and then deduct TDS in March month. Sir, I am vacating property in January itself. Then in January month, you should deduct the TDS. Suppose the person to whom I am paying the rent, no, he may be owner or he may be a sublessor. He may be a owner or sublessor. In 194IB, I am paying rent, right? To whom I am paying? He need not be owner. He may be subleasing me, subletting me. Yes or no? Now, if at all the owner does not give me, or the person who rented me this does not give me PAN number, then I will deduct TDS at 20%. We know very well. But that should not exceed last month rent. That should not exceed March month rent or last month of the tenancy rent. TDS shall not exceed that much. And we already solved a problem on this in the ICA book. Yes or no? That's it. So with this section is over. Clear or not? Next, 194 IA. You are buying immovable property. You are buying immovable property. On purchase of immovable property, whose consideration or whose stamp duty value on the date of registration, if nothing is mentioned, we should take registration stamp duty value. If at all it is exceeding 50 lakh, TDS will apply. If it is less than 50 lakh, TDS will not apply. Are you clear? At what rate? 1% of the consideration or stamp duty value if it is higher, whichever is higher. So either stamp duty or consideration, any one cross 50 lakhs enough. On that value, 1% TDS you will deduct and pay balance amount to the buyer of the immovable property. You are the seller of the immovable property. Yes or no? Sorry. You are buyer of the immovable property. You are the buyer of the immovable property. You are paying amount to seller. Deduct 1% and pay the balance amount to the seller. Correct? Yes or no? Next, remember there is one amendment, 1st October onwards. If multiple owners are there, multiple sellers, multiple buyers are there, for each seller and buyer 50 lakhs limit shall be applied. Property we should see. Property we should see. Property consideration how much? That you should see. Yes or no? Consideration is aggregated. They said aggregated means what? Single property value you should see. Yes or no? Joint owners may be multiple. That doesn't matter. Are you clear? Even TAN requirement does not apply for 194 IA. Remember, consideration must also include club membership fee, car parking fee, anything. Are you getting it? So when you are paying immovable property, you are buying a flat. In that flat cost is 40 lakhs. 15 lakhs amenities cost. That is also to be considered. Able to understand. 1% TDS. Clear or not? Now, when you are buying immovable property, I already told in gift provision. Yes or no? You are a buyer of immovable property. If it is inadequate consideration, gift provision might apply. For seller, capital gains provision might apply for him if it is a capital asset. For the seller, if it is a stock in trade for him, the building which he is selling, then PGBP 43 CA will logic also will apply. Accordingly, 43 CA, 50 C, 194 IA, all these sections, 56 subsection to clause 10, gift, everything you should apply cumulatively and then take. In exam, sometimes they will ask you buyer, seller, at what price, everything. They will ask you tax implications under income tax law. Clear? That's it. Then we have something called 194J. 5 types of payments are covered. What are the 5 types of payments? Professional service fee, technical service fee, non-compete fee, royalty, director fee. Totally 5 payments are covered. Now, for whom this section is applicable? Any person other than individual and HUF. Suppose I am a partnership firm, I am a company. All 5 types of payments if I am making, all 5 types of payments if at all I am making, yes or no, this 194J is applicable. Sir, I am not firm partner, all that. I am an individual and HUF. And my turnover in the last year 1 crore crossed. My receipts in the last year 50 lakhs crossed. Then for me is this section applicable? Yes, applicable, but only 2 payments. Only fees for professional service, fees for technical service. For individual and HUF, no, 194J section is applicable for professional service fee, technical service fee. Suppose individual is paying royalty, 194J section will not apply. Individual is paying non-compete fee, 194J section will not apply. Yes or no? Next, who is the payee? Resident payee. Who is the payee? Resident payee. TDS at what rate? Sir, for professional service, 10% is the TDS. For royalty, 10% is the TDS. Non-compete fee, 10% is the TDS. Direct remuneration, 10. Everywhere, 10% only. Yes or no? However, for these 3 types of payments, technical services, or if the recipient is engaged in call center operations, royalty for cinemas, technical service, royalty for cinema, or if the recipient is engaged in call center, then TDS rate is what? 2%. Yes or no? When they should deduct TDS? If professional fee is exceeding 30, then only TDS. Fees for technical cross at 30,000, then only TDS. Royalty for cinemas I am paying 30,000 crossed in a year, then only TDS. Any other royalty 30,000. Non-compete fee 30. Threshold limit is not there for director remuneration. Yes or no? Threshold limit is not there for director remuneration. Simple. What payments are covered? fees for professional service, fees for technical service, royalty for cinemas, royalty for others, non-compete fee, director remuneration. For all of them, each amount, each expenditure, 30,000 separate limit is there. Remember, 30,000 limit is not combined all put together. It's a separate limit for royalty, separate limit for technical, separate limit for fees for professional. Yes or no? Suppose no, to single person, I am paying professional fee, I am paying technical fee, 20,000 I paid. Both put together 40. Section I will not apply because each professional service fee less than 30, technical service fee less than 30 in a year. Yes or no? Therefore, the section will not apply. All the amounts, 30,000 separate threshold limit. However, director remuneration, no threshold because section is silent on that. Able to understand. By the way, director remuneration means what? Director sitting fee. Director remuneration means what? Director sitting fee. Yes or no? Now again, if at all you are making for personal purposes, professional fee, technical fee, all that, no TDS at all. Are you clear? So what is professional service? What is technical service? All that. What is royalty? Everything is defined. Royalty also includes computer software purchase. You are paying amount for software purchase, that comes under royalty. Suppose no, I am paying amount in a subsequent transfer. He is reselling me the software. Yes or no? And earlier, no, when he originally bought, he deducted TDS. Transferee, he gave me a declaration that I already deducted last time. Now I'm just reselling the software without any modification. Then I need not deduct TDS on the purchase of software from the previous owner who is reselling it. Are you getting it? That's it. 194J is over. Already 194K we already completed. Then 194 LA, I should have discussed it in IA itself. 194 IA is what? Purchase of immovable property. 194 LA is also purchase of immovable property. Both are purchase only. But in 194 IA, we are purchasing under compulsory acquisition mode from the seller. Seller is not voluntarily selling, compulsory acquisition. And annual, the amount we are paying, no compensation is crossed to 2,50,000. Then TDS will apply at 10%. TDS will apply at 10%. But you know, in 194 LA, agricultural land, whether rural and urban, does not cover. But 194 IA, I missed this point. Rural agricultural land is not covered in 194 IA. Suppose if I am purchasing urban agricultural land, 194 IA, 1% logic will apply, 50 lakhs crossed. 194 LA, rural or urban, doesn't matter because compulsory acquisition of urban agricultural land is exempt under 10 subsection 37. That's it. Clear. Next, 194M. 194M is applicable to individuals and HUF who are not covered under 194C, not covered under 194H, not covered under 194J, or they are making payment for personal or business, doesn't matter, but they are not covered under these three sections. I am paying for work, I am paying for professional fee or technical fee, I am paying for commission or brokerage, some amount I am paying for my business purpose or my personal, doesn't matter. I am not covered under those three sections. Am I liable to deduct TDS on payment to do work, payment for professional, payment for brokerage? Should I deduct? Yes. If the annual amount is exceeding, 50 lakh, if the annual amount is exceeding 50 lakh, you should deduct TDS. Okay, at what rate? Up to 30th September, whatever the amount is belonging to, 5%. From 1st October, if at all you are paying the amount, 2%. Remember, threshold limit is not separate for October and separate for, before October and after. Year full, how much amount paid? 50. Then up to September, 30 lakhs I paid, sir. After September, 40 lakhs I paid, sir. Then before October month, before 1st October, then up to 30th September, on this 5%, on this 2%, you will apply TDS. Are you clear? Remember, 5%, 2% logic is there. Once again, I'm repeating, 194G, 194H, 194IB, yes or no, 194M, and 194DA, insurance payment. In all these 5 sections, up to 30th September, 5% TDS, from 1st October, 2% TDS, yes or no? That's it. TAN number concept do not apply in this section also. Clear? Then 194N, TDS on cash withdrawal. You are withdrawing cash. Who is paying you? Bank is paying you. Post office is paying you. Cooperative bank is paying you. So this section is applicable for banks, societies, cooperative banks, and post offices. When they need to deduct TDS, when you are withdrawing cash. When they, yes, sir. Suppose society is withdrawing cash. What is the limit when the TDS shall be deducted? Others are withdrawing cash when they need to deduct. Others, in the last 3 years, 1 year at least you filed ITR. In the last 3 years, current year you ignore. You're withdrawing now. 24-25 you're withdrawing. We will see 23-24, 22-23, 21-22. In these 3 years, have you filed return of income? I'll ask. Yeah, you filed it. Then no problem. Above up to 1 crore, no TDS. 1 crore crossed, 2% TDS. Sir, last 3 years, all the 3 years I'm not a ITR, I'm not filing ITR, I'm a non-filer technically. Then the moment 20 lakhs cross, TDS will apply. Up to 20 lakhs, banks cannot question. The moment 20 lakhs cross, up to 1 crore, 2% TDS. Beyond 1 crore, if you are withdrawing, 5% TDS. For corporate society, instead of 1 crore, it is 3 crore limit. Instead of 1 crore, it is 3 crore limit. Society, suppose corporate society is withdrawing cash, they filed ITR, sir. Then beyond 3 crore, only 2% TDS. Sir, they are not filing ITR. First 20, no TDS. From after 20 to 3 crore, 2%. Beyond 3 crore, 5%. That's it. Are you clear? By the way, ITR filed means what? ITR filed within due date only will be considered. If at all in the last 3 years, I filed ITR after due date, then I will become I will be treated as not filed only. Able to understand. Next, by the way, if the amount is withdrawn by government, if the amount is withdrawn by banks, if the amount is withdrawn by business correspondents of the bank, if the amount is withdrawn by ATM operators, if the amount is withdrawn by notified persons, for them no TDS will be applicable under 194N. Yes or no? Easy or not? That's 194P, pension. 194P, pension. 192, 192A, 194P. All the three are dealing with salary related heads only. 194P, for whom it is applicable? Suppose I am an individual resident aged 75 or more, and I have a bank account with one bank called State Bank of India. Only with them I have a bank account. I don't have bank at anywhere else. I get pension money from my ex-employer. I get pension money from my ex-employer. In the same bank account I receive. With the same State Bank of India, I'm having fixed deposit, time deposit, something I have. I'm getting interest. I don't have any other income. I don't have any other income. Then this section calls me specified senior citizen. The State Bank of India, where I'm having bank account, right, from where I am receiving my pension amount, from where I'm receiving my interest amount, where I don't have any other interest or any other income from any other bank, yes or no, then the State Bank of India is called as a specified bank. Now I will go to State Bank of India, I will give a declaration under 194P to State Bank of India that I don't have any income, I don't have any bank account, I don't have any income, I get only pension income, I get interest income, both are received through your bank account only. Then the State Bank of India will take the declaration, they will compute your gross total income, they will compute your chapter 6 deduction, they will compute your total income, they will compute your tax liability, and that tax liability State Bank of India will deduct from you. They will deduct from you at the time of payment of pension and interest to you. They will deduct from you and pay to the income tax department. Now what is the benefit here for me? I am exempted from IT return. No matter how much my income is, doesn't matter. I am exempted from filing IT return because State Bank of India is deducting my entire income tax liability, including surcharge, including cess, everything they are deducting. Yes or no? Just like in 192, how you compute employee tax liability, here bank will compute senior citizens tax liability. Yes or no? So they will deduct TDS and then pay to the government. Are you clear? So that's it. So recipient is who? Specified senior citizen. Payer is who? Specified bank. When a bank is called as specified bank, when a bank, they are not earning any other income except pension and interest which is credited with the specified bank. Yes or no? That's it. Easy. 194P not a big deal. Yes or no? Then 194Q. Where real complexity. Okay, fine. Before 194Q, I will discuss 194R. What is 194R? I am a businessman. My dealer is giving me a gift because I achieved some target. Cash or kind of something is giving me. That is called as a perquisite for me under PGBP, which is taxable under charging section 28 PGBP. I am receiving a perquisite. I am receiving a benefit. Who is giving me? My dealer. Now the dealer has to deduct TDS because dealer is the person who is giving. I am giving to my wholesaler or retailer on meeting some targets. I am giving them a gift, a refrigerator, car, something I am giving gift. I should deduct TDS if the annual value of the gift is more than 20,000. If the perquisite value, benefit value is more than 20,000. At what rate? 10%. By the way, which dealer has to deduct TDS? Only if it is any person or individual in HUF where turnover is more than 1 crore or receipts are more than 50 lakh. Then only for me this 194R section is applicable. And then I am giving a perquisite to my wholesaler, retailer, business people. I am giving some gift to my wholesaler, retailer or some business people. Yes or no? Then TDS will apply. Are you clear? Yes or no? It's easy. Give to any benefit or perquisite convertible into money or not. Doesn't matter. Is it a cash or is it a kind of? Doesn't matter. Clear? Next, 194Q, which is linked with 206C 1H. Yes or no? 1 minute. 2 minutes, we'll take a gap and then continue this. Yes, let's continue the discussion. Okay, 194Q. Suppose you are buying goods from a seller. Generally, goods purchase and sale, no. Goods transactions, no, they are subject to TCS only generally. But there is one section called 194Q, which is applicable for the buyer but not the seller. Suppose if I am buying goods, I am a buyer. This section is applicable to me when, when my preceding year turnover is crossing 10 crore. Then only this section is applicable to me. When my preceding year turnover is exceeding 10 crore, then only for the buyer this section is applicable. Okay, to whom he is paying? Seller. For what he is paying? For purchase of goods. Which goods? Any goods, doesn't matter. I am a buyer paying money to the seller for purchase of goods. Are you getting it? Suppose if the goods are covered under 206C, if the goods are covered under 206C, timber, 206C1, timber, 206C 1F car, yes or no? These two sections, foreign currency I am purchasing, 206C 1G, for these goods, no, this section do not apply. However, remaining goods I am buying, then this section is applicable. Sometimes no. For seller, there is another section called 206C 1H. That section says, if at all you are buying, you are selling any goods. For seller, this section is talking about whom? Seller. This section says, if you are selling any goods and you are selling any goods other than timber, forest, tendu leaves, scrap, yes or no? Notified goods under 206C1, motor vehicle, notified goods under 1F, foreign currency, you are saying, other than that, remaining goods you are selling, then 206C1H is applicable. So, which goods are covered under 194Q? Which goods are covered under 206C1H? Same goods. 206C1H, what goods are covered? 194Q, what goods are covered? Both are same. In both the section, all goods are covered except 206C1 goods, 206C1F goods, 206C1G goods. Except these three, remaining all other goods are covered under these two sections. Are you getting it? Now, 206C1H says, seller whose last year turnover is more than 10 crore. If at all you are selling to a single buyer for more than 50 lakh in a year, seller has to collect, what is it? Seller has to collect 0.1% of consideration, which is including GST. Value of consideration is exceeding 50 lakh. For determining value of consideration, GST component also you will consider in TCS provision 206C1H. Are you getting it? So if it is more than 50 lakhs worth of goods to the buyer you are selling in a year, including GST, you must deduct TDS at 0.1%. Sorry, you must collect TCS at 0.1% from the buyer. Okay, this is 206C1H says. What 194Q says, if a buyer is buying goods exceeding 50 lakh in a year, if at all is buying goods exceeding 50 lakh in a year, buyer has to deduct 0.1% of the amount paid to seller for the amount which is more than 50 lakh. Up to 50 lakhs don't deduct. This is a slab limit, not a threshold limit. In TCS and here 194Q, 206C1H, in both these sections it's a slab limit only. Only for these two sections it's a slab limit. Yes or no? It's not a threshold limit. Buyer, for example, okay, there is a buyer and buying goods from seller. At what price? 1 crore. 1 crore worth of goods I am buying. By the way, this is not covered under, these goods are not covered under 206C subsection 1, 206C subsection 1F, 206C subsection 1G. Because in all these three sections, goods only covered. Foreign currency is also called as goods only, technically. So in these sections it is not covered. Remaining goods you are buying. Remaining goods only seller is selling. Then for seller, 206C section 1H is applicable. For buyer, 194Q is applicable. 194Q says 0.1% deduct. Yes or no? Deduct on 1 crore, right? But only on 50 lakhs you will deduct. Up to 50 lakhs you don't deduct. 0.1% on 50 lakh means what? 5,000, which means after deduction 99 lakh, 99,000, 95,000, correct? Sorry, 99 lakh, 95,000, simple. 99 lakh, 95,000 you should pay to seller. This is what 194Q section says. But what 206C section says, 206C, 1 crore, right? Yes or no? Plus 0.1% on 50 lakh, which is 5,000, is equal to 1 crore 5,000 rupees collect from buyer. 206C 1H section says to the seller, you collect 1 crore 5,000 from buyer. But 194Q section says to the buyer, you pay only 99 lakh 95,000. Both the sections are saying different amount. Buyer will say, I will pay 99 lakh 95. Seller will say, no, you should pay me 1 crore 5,000. For me, TCS section is applicable. If both the sections are applicable on the same transaction, then TDS will apply. 194 section will win. Yes or no? Now, by the way, 194Q is applicable to buyer whose preceding financial year turnover is more than 10 crore. Seller whose preceding financial year turnover is exceeding 10 crore. Suppose buyer turnover last year is less than 10 crore. Then 194Q do not apply to buyer. Automatically 206C 1H is applicable. Are you clear? Suppose buyer turnover is less than 10 crore. Seller turnover is also less than 10 crore. Both the sections will not apply to buyer and seller. The transaction is exempted under TDS. Yes or no? All of you, suppose let us assume you are buying 1 crore, right? Let us assume you are buying a car worth of 1 crore. Suppose you are buying a car worth of 1 crore. Car is not covered under 194Q, 206C 1H because car is covered under 1F. Automatically seller only has to collect TCS. If any good is covered under 206C 1, 206C 1F, yes or no? If at all goods are subject to TCS under 206C 1, 206C 1F, 206C 1G, then 206C only will apply. Only if the goods are covered under 1H category, then 194Q also we have to check. If both are applicable, 194Q will prevail over. That's it. Section is over. 194Q, 206C, 1C, 1H. Easy or not? All of you. Then directly. So that's it. If both the sections apply, tax shall be deducted under 194Q. Now let's begin TCS. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. Now let's continue TCS. Then finally we will come back to administrative provisions. Okay. 206C TCS. What is the section says? There are totally 5 sections in TCS. Subsection 1, 1C, 1F, 1G, 1H. 1H just now we completed. Correct? Yes or no? Now in 194Q and 194H, one more point is there. Suppose 194Q, buyer only has to deduct. If seller is not giving PAN number, then maximum TDS rate is 5%. Yes or no? Suppose 206C 1H is applicable. Seller has to collect TCS from buyer. Buyer is not giving PAN number. 1% will apply. Then 1% in 206C 1H, here higher rate of TCS. If buyer is not giving PAN number to seller has to deduct at TDS at higher rate 5%. But max 1% in case of 206C 1H. Yes or no? 194Q. If at all buyer has to deduct TDS, when they are paying to seller is not giving PAN number. Generally, maximum TDS rate is what here? Maximum TDS rate is what there? Maximum TDS rate is what? 20%. But under 194Q, maximum TDS rate is 5%. Yes or no? That's it. Then remaining provisions I'll come back to it later. Okay. Then suppose specified goods you are selling. What are they? Minerals, not mineral oil. Okay. Scrap, other forest produce, timber, alcohol, tendu leaves. Then these are the rates at which TDS will be applicable. This you see later. Okay. Sir, I am giving him parking lot. I am giving him toll plaza. I am giving him some quarry or license. For that I am getting some compensation. Yes or no? I should also collect 2% TCS. I am selling motor vehicle to him where the value is exceeding 10 lakh. Where the value here, each car value should see only X showroom price, bike value, X showroom price, car, bike, bus, lorry, whatever, vehicle, X showroom price is more than 10 lakhs. X showroom means what? Including GST. Under TCS provisions, every sale value means including GST. Are you clear? Then recently one more point added for notified goods from 1st January. This is recently added for the first time for May 25 exams. Latest amendment. Notified goods, what are they? They didn't mention. Notified goods are also covered under 1F, which means a seller has to collect if vehicle value is exceeding 10 lakh, 1%. For notified goods straight away, 1%. Clear? Next. 1H is already over. Now let us discuss 1G. 1G is dealing with what, sub 1G is dealing with two types: overseas tour package, remittances. What is it? Remittances. Remittances under LRS scheme. Are you getting it? Overseas tour package, separate 7 lakhs limit. Remaining remittances all put together, 7 lakhs the basic exemption limit. Getting it? Now, for overseas tour package, first 7 lakhs rupees worth of payment straight away, 5% TDS. If the amount is exceeding 7 lakh, 20% TCS. In our class, no regular, no, we already solved our some past exam question or MTP questions we solved. Yes or no? That's it. Sir, I am remitting for some other purpose, not overseas tour package. I am not purchasing any foreign tour package. Getting it? Foreign tour package, if you are purchasing straight away, 5% up to 7 lakhs. 7 lakhs it crossed on the extra amount, 20%. Sir, I am not for foreign tour package. I am paying for some other purpose. What? Education and medical. Here add word medical and medical. You are paying for education and medical. Then first 7 lakhs, 0. 7 lakhs crossed, 5% TDS. If at all the amount is crossed, 7 lakh, 5%. Sir, it amount crossed 7, sir. Education purpose on I am paying, sir. But out of loan, education loan we are paying, then 0.5% is the TCS. Then what is the TCS? 0.5% is the TCS to be collected by foreign currency dealer who is remitting foreign currency on behalf of remitter. From remitter they should collect the TCS. Yes or no? Sir, I am remitting for some other purpose. Any purpose you remit, first 7 lakhs in a year is exempted. In the year 24-25 you are remitting. First I will ask you for what purpose? Overseas tour package, straight away 5%, 20% as usual. Remaining amount, first 7 lakhs I will not ask any question, exempt. Beyond 7 lakhs you are remitting for what purpose? Education and medical, sir, then 5%. Education for loan, out of loan, 0.5. Some other purpose, 20%. Some other purpose you are remitting. Suppose you are gifting to your cousin abroad. Yes or no? You are remitting some cash amount abroad, foreign currency remittance. Yes or no? 7 lakhs crossed in a full year, straight away 20%. Now, many students misinterpret here. 7 lakhs for education separately, for other purpose separately. No. Whatever purpose you are remitting, up to 7 lakhs is exempted in year. FIFO basis, calculate the limit. Okay, now April to March is there. I remitted 7 lakhs through foreign currency dealer, not overseas tour package. Overseas tour package is a separate provision altogether. I am remitting some money through foreign currency dealer. Up to 7 lakhs, he will not ask me any question. 0. 7 lakhs crossed. 2 lakhs I am remitting now today. 7 lakhs already crossed. 2 lakhs I am remitting. For what purpose? Medical purpose. 5%. Another 2 lakhs I remitted. For what purpose? Education purpose. 5%. Some 10 lakhs I am remitting. For what purpose? Education purpose out of loan. 0.5%. I am remitting some another 2 lakhs or 4 lakhs. What purpose? Some other purpose, not education or medical. 20% TCS. First 7 lakh, no questions asked. That's it. 1G section over. Easy or not? Then who is a seller? From subsection 1F point of view, same. I told you, remember, for 8 sections the seller definition, the person who has to collect TCS, the person who has to deduct TDS is same. 1H, turnover must exceed 10 crore. Now under 1 no, timber, tendu leaves, scrap, all that is there, right? Seller of timber, tendu leaves, all that they should collect TCS, no, scrap at 1 no, 2.5%, 5%, something like that. Yes or no? But if the buyer is purchasing for manufacturing purpose, for his personal consumption, not for reselling it, no TCS. 206(1)(f), car we are selling, motor vehicle we are selling. Motor vehicle we are selling to whom? Road transport company. Public sector company engaged in road transport. Public sector company engaged in transportation of passengers. Nothing but road transport corporations you are selling. Yes or no? No TCS. 1H for importers, for exporters it will not apply, because exporters exporting goods means he is selling goods to the importer in India. How exporter can comply with Indian TCS provisions and also he can't. So he will not have to deduct. Yes or no? TCS provisions are not at all applicable if the buyer is a public sector, government to high commission, embassy. That's it. Over. Now we still have 2 or 3 more provisions. Getting it? Now there are some administrative provisions. What are administrative provisions? Important provision I will discuss. TDS. Payer has to deduct, no? While amount is paid to payee. Suppose if the payee does not give PAN number, then TDS will be deducted at 2 times the section rate or 20%, whichever is higher. And for 194Q, for goods purchase related, 5% max. Yes or no? Same way in 206CC also, same logic, which is applicable for seller of the TCS. Suppose I am selling goods, buyer is not giving me PAN, then at what rate I should deduct TCS? 2 times of the section rate or 5% maximum TCS. But if it is 206E 1H, 1% is the maximum TCS. By the way, overall, if it is 2 times, no. 2 times means what? For example, 1G, foreign remittance is there, 20% is there. Maximum TCS rate cannot exceed 20. In TCS section only maximum TCS rate is given. In TDS, no. Non-furnishing of PAN, maximum rate they have not given. Yes or no? Minimum rate is 20, we know. Maximum rate there is no. 206 AA. That's it. Again, higher rate of TDS, higher rate of TCS is applicable if at all non-filer is there. Suppose I am selling goods to a buyer. He did not file his IT return in the last year. And in the last year, he has a TDS amount of more than 50,000 or TCS amount more than 50 or both. Yes or no? Last year, he has a TDS or TCS amount more than 50 and not filed IT return. Getting it? That time, 2 times of the tax or 5%. Maximum cannot exceed 20. 206C CCA. Same way, in TDS also, deductor, payer has to deduct. When paying amount to specified person who has not filed IT return in the last year and has a TDS or TCS minimum 50,000 or more, that time he should deduct 2 times the section rate or 5%, whichever is higher. This TDS section 206AB, high rate of TDS for non-filers, will not apply for salaried payments, pension payments, yes or no? 192, 192A, 192B, 194, 194IA, IB, 194M, here 6 you remove, and 194N. Are you clear? Easy or not? That's it. Suppose no, if both these sections apply, higher will be applicable. In TCS also 206CC, 206CCA. If both are applicable, whichever is higher, that rate you will collect. That's it. Clear all of you? Then what is the responsibility of the person deducting the tax? Simple. Whatever the tax you deducted, by next month 7th day you should pay it. For March month, by next month 30 you should pay. Not only paying challan, you should also file ETDS statement. You should also file ETDS statements. Correct? You should file quarterly statements. Quarterly statements means what? Q1, 30th June quarter ending, 31st July you should file ETDS statement. Q2, 30th September quarter ending, 31st October you should file return. Q3, 31st January you should file the return. Q4, 2 months time limit, 31st May you should file the TDS return. So the person who is deducting or collecting, they have a responsibility to file ETDS statement. Quarterly they should file, monthly they should pay. Monthly then they should pay April month TDS TCS, 7th of next month. April, May, June up to February, 7th of next month you should pay. March month alone, by 30th April you should pay to the government through challan. Yes or no? That's it. Suppose I failed to deduct or I failed to remit, then I am liable to pay interest. If I am failing to deduct 1% per month or part of a month, per month or part of a month means calendar month. We already did one illustration also in the class. Yes or no? Then from which date? From deductible date. So date of payment they will give no, that date. June month it is that date. You ultimately deducted in January month. Total June, July, August, September, October, November, December and January. So June to December, 7 months and January. Total 8 months will apply. Yes or no? Don't calculate month means 7th of this month means next month 6th, 1 month. No, that's not how it is to be calculated. June month you deducted. 10 days only there in the June month. Full month you will consider. January 5th you deducted ultimately. January also you will consider. Yes or no? 1% till the date of deduction. So date on which you are liable, check out. Date of deduction you check out. What are all months involved, check out. That's it. That many months. Finally, you deducted in January. You should pay by 7th February, right? But you didn't pay. You paid on 7th July. You deducted in January and you paid on July month. Yes or no? So now January month deduction is, January means due date for payment is what? 7th February. Generally students will compute interest from 7th February onwards. No. In case of late remittance, 1.5% is the rate of interest. Interest is calculated from deduction date itself. Deduction date is in January. January month you should calculate 1.5% interest. You ultimately paid in when? July month. Up to July month, 7 months you should calculate 1.5% per month interest from deduction date till remittance. That way I gave intentionally due date onwards and I striked off. Are you clear? Then SSC in default and all is that, that's okay, not that required. Okay, I already discussed enough in the class also. I clearly discussed on this. Clear or not? That's it. So with this, TDS and TCS provisions are fully complete.